this past summer, the Fresno City Council passed new regulations on how smoke shops operate in the city and even how many are allowed to exist. That resulted in a group of smoke shop owners suing in federal court. And last week, a judge rendered a decision. On this Wired Wednesday, senior reporter David Taub joins us live from the GV Wire studios in Fresno to break down the case. Good morning, David. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Liz.
Okay, so just how severe are these regulations? We'll start with that.
Well, they are forcing these smoke shops to actually be regulated. They weren't really regulated before, to the fact that the city didn't know exactly how many smoke shops were in the city. They estimated 140, but these smoke shops would pop up, they'd disappear, they'd pop up again. So the city said, enough, we're going to actually give you regulations. You're going to have to, the simple logical things. You can't sell to minors, you can only sell legal tobacco. To more operational standards, you have to keep security standards, you have to keep your places clean. So places that, we regulate alcohol sellers, the city also wants to regulate these smoke shops as well.
Okay, so tell us, I know at times it was even described as the Wild Wild West. What can you tell us about the group that filed this lawsuit?
Well, it's a group of smoke shop owners called the California Smoke Shop Association. They said they're the good sellers. They're the ones who follow the law. But the city, they said they've done investigations last year, and of the 67 smoke shops that they investigated, 63 had some sort of violation, a citation. Some of them are more technical. You had an electrical problem here, a code violation here. Others were more serious. You were selling tobacco to minors. You were engaged in gambling, and some of them are really serious. You were selling cannabis, or they even found guns in some of these. So that's one of the motivations that the city council did when they passed these regulations. But the Smoke Shop Association said, no, this is a violation of our constitutional rights, and they sued in federal court.
Well, that lawsuit almost came instantly after this happened. They were talking about it. They did follow through. What did the judge decide? The
judge sided now with the city. What the Smoke Shop Association wanted to do is they wanted to put a temporary halt. They first went for a temporary restraining order. The judge said no. Then they went for a preliminary injunction, which is, in a sense, has the same effect. Stop this right now. The judge, again, in his ruling last week, said no. He agreed that the city had the right, because of all these violations they found in these preliminary inspection, there was a legitimate reason for the city to engage in this smoke shop regulation. Now, the smoke shop said, well, it's not fair. You're regulating us, you're not regulating cigar shops, you're not regulating convenience stores, and to a lesser extent, you're not regulating the big box stores. But the judge said, you know what, smoke shops are the problem, the city had the right, and he's going to allow this law, this regulations to go on for right now.
So, David, what happens next?
Well, the Smoke Shop Association, they're still at actual trial for the whole regulations itself. That's going to take place in January 2027. Now, one part that wasn't argued in the preliminary injunction stage was a limitation of how many smoke shops can be in the city. The city is going to require these smoke shops to get a conditional use permit. That's going to limit the amount to 49, which is 7 per the 7 city council districts. The smoke shops are going to argue that, well, this isn't a legal taking. It's like eminent domain. You're taking our business without giving us just compensation. That's going to be argued at a later date. However, there was one deadline for these smoke shops to file for these permits, and only 9 filed right now. So we'll see how this plays out. They have until like December 2026 to actually come in line with these regulations or go out of business.
Again, you mentioned 7 per city council district. At one point we looked at a map and there was such a concentration of them. It's hard to ignore that there was such a concentration in the south part of town. So, but again, you mentioned not very many of them actually wound up filing for permits, at least so far.
Yeah, for their argument, hey, you're going to put us out of business. Well, only 9 of them, of these 140 or more or less, said we actually want to continue doing business here. So that's very questionable.
All right, a lot still to be said on this. David Taub with GV Wire. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wired Wednesday. Great day. We'll be right back.